Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of E&F to order at 1:33. Councilor Hargis, would you do the invocation, please?
All stand, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you have blessed us with. We thank you for gathering us to do the business of the Cherokee people, and we just ask for your guidance and direction. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Shelley, will you do roll call for us?
Cody Fishinghawk. Denise Taylor.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard. Joe Bird.
Honey.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
China Gloria Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener. Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell. David Thornton.
Honey.
Victoria Vasquez. David Walkenstick. Terry Cowan Watts. We do have a quorum.
Okay, you have the the minutes from last month's meeting provided here today. If you've had a chance to look those over, I would entertain motion for approval.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilor Keener and a second by Councilor Hargis. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Let's move on into reports. Oh, the PAC minutes. You also had the PAC minutes from our special meeting.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilor Walkenstick, a second by Councilor Baker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll move into the reports. Is the treasurer here?
She was here, Lacey Horn. Go to Sean.
Oh, here she is. Are you ready, Lacey? Yes, I am. Okay. Sorry.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
Okay. I don't really have much else to report other than what's in my report. We are getting started on creating and preparing the chief's budget proposal for fiscal year 2015. So we are in that process. Questions that you have?
Does anybody have any questions of the treasurer? Okay.
Thank you.
Good job, Lacey. Move on into Cherokee Nation business. Sean Slayton's here.
Good afternoon. We were
Hello.
reporting on April. We had an okay April. It was a little softer than what we'd hoped for, but as I said last night, we bounced back really strong in May, and things are going good with our businesses. We're having a good June, first 2 or 3 weeks of the month. Getting down into some of the projects that we've got ongoing. Talked a little bit last night about the clinics, and things are progressing there. We have another big project going on at Catoosa with the remodel of the original tower at Hard Rock. That is underway. Floors 2 and 3, I believe, have been closed for the last couple of weeks, and we're getting ready to put those back into service, and then we'll move to the next 2 floors and on up until we have all 7 floors refurbished. That's going to be a very nice project when we're done. Out at WRD, we have a study ongoing for wastewater and sanitary sewer and just the runoff that comes off of that property when it rains. I think that's scheduled to be ready at the end of July, and we'll probably be doing some remediation out there if there are any findings or any recommendations to improve that. Down at Roland, project's progressing nicely. We have hit an old pond on the northeast corner of the property. We did some more work to just see how big and expansive that was and have that identified, and we're now digging that out and filling it back in so it'll be solid. So we're happy to have that behind us and on the way with the solution, underway with the solution there. There's a review underway to determine whether or not we're just going to update Outpost 1 or whether it's time just to replace it. As you know, that's one of the older facilities that we've got, and if you look at the property, it's tired and it needs at least a facelift, if not replacing. And so we've got an architect that's either in process of being selected or on board to look at that and give us some alternatives. So we're really excited about that project. At the end of May or at the end of April or 1st of May, we reopened at the Hard Rock the original McGill's as a 24-hour diner, and that's been very well received by both employees and by customers. We didn't have an offering for those late night people other than a little facility over at the food court, and it's met a demand that we've been not meeting for quite a while. That concludes my report. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions.
I believe Council Byrd has a comment.
The Outpost 1,
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you're addressing that. That was one of the things that we said we would reopen back in the 90s, and we did along with the restaurant. You know, our Cherokee people really look at that as theirs, ownership.
Right.
That and the restaurant. I hope we take time to assess the restaurant as well. You know, I said this yesterday when I was talking about the Heritage Center. Labor Day is coming up, Cherokee holidays, and we are going to be bombarded with people everywhere. And that Heritage Center just cannot handle the masses that we've had in years past. Just like our restaurant, the Cherokees. We have 2 restrooms there. It just can't handle all the people that come here. And I know people might say, well, this is Cherokee County, you guys get everything, but it's also the capital of the Cherokee Nation.
Sure.
And it's just something that we need to look at and evaluate when the time is right, if we can improve on some of the facilities here. And one thing I was going to ask you, and I commend you for looking at the original tower and doing the 7 floors. The new facility that's going up across our hard drive, this may be the first time that we will witness where a Walmart follows one of our projects. Usually, a enterprise or a business will follow a Walmart.
Right.
This is right the opposite. They're going to feed off of our traffic flow, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that going to have any impact one way or another with if they were to build some hotels there in any way? Is that just going to accommodate more traffic flow for us?
Well, it'll bring more visitors is the hope. You know, that's why we sold that property to a developer, to create something there that would be an attraction, that would be an offering that we weren't providing. And we do feel like it will provide a lift to the hotel and casino. We're not sure what that will be. Next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're trying to kind of quantify that. We've put together a traffic study that'll be conducted. They'll have their strips out there. What we're trying to do is measure the traffic on our highest volume nights, which is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and event nights. And then that will give us a baseline that whenever the Walmart opens, then we'll come back and measure the same thing and see what the increase has been in traffic, if any. So we're curious about the same information you're curious about. We feel like it'll be a big benefit to us.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Counselor Buzzard?
Yeah, just going to speak on the same thing that Councilor Byrd mentioned about Outpost 1, and you probably saw the news, the release about Walmart putting in some of these smaller outpost type of buildings. Is there any plans to increase the size of the building and maybe offer more products within the outpost itself? I'm talking about maybe people go in for I don't know, different types of stuff that you find in like Come and Go stores or
Right.
the other smaller stores. I know we don't have them over here, but
Yes.
is your plans to increase the size of the building and increase the product that we have in it?
That's part of the review, and we're working on a business case. We do have 2 or 3 models. I'm not going to mention the names, but we're always looking for best practices, and certainly those few that you mentioned would be included in that category. And the short answer would be yes, we're looking at what the options are, including having more offerings there.
And then just to follow up, I know at Hard Rock, that's mostly for gaming, but it seems to be we may be missing out on some of the same stuff right there at Hard Rock. For the convenience of those people staying there. Some people just want to go up to a small store instead of going across to a super center at Walmart. So
Sure.
anyway, just some thoughts there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Counselor Walking Stick?
Hey, Sean, speaking about the outposts, have we thought about franchising with maybe a Subway or a Quick Trip or something? I mean, Quick Trip's they're
Right.
rolling in with
Right.
cash. I don't know if we could do something similar.
Well, maybe not so much a franchise, but more kind of, I think what Harley's talking about there is looking at what's being offered out there at successful franchises and seeing if we can cultivate our own brand, our own Cherokee brand by doing mimicking them in some form or fashion that fits here. Joe mentioned the restaurant of the Cherokees. It's an important thing for the Cherokee people. I've been here when it wasn't such a great place to eat, and I really appreciate the effort Angie and Johnny put out to make it a good place and serve the people. And we want to be careful what we do there that doesn't have a lot of impact to them. But some of the things that you're talking about are options that we're looking at.
Thank you, Sean.
Counselor Watts?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm trying to, when I read your report, do we have new casinos coming in or not? I was trying to, the ones that are included, and it's public information in this report, part of this meeting.
We're always on the lookout for additional sites that have a market that we can serve, yes.
So it looks like, is it South Coffeyville, Grove, and Langley?
Don't know anything about Langley.
There was a Langley property purchase, I thought, that was made.
I don't know of one of
Okay.
Langley. I'll check into that.
Okay.
It would have to go through me, unless I was just asleep and forgot about
No,
it.
I may have misread the report, that's why I asked to clarify, so.
We bought some property at Grove. We've always wanted to be in that market, and if we can figure out a way to serve Coffeyville and South Coffeyville and Grove, we would love to have a facility there. The market research and data that we've done show that they would be a good place to put something.
Okay, and I guess I got this in the mail, so congratulations on the Global Vision Awards Dinner by Tulsa Global Alliance, when CMB is being honored. Is this something that we're all going to be included on that night, or will there be an invitation?
I'll have to get with Amanda
Okay.
on that. I'm not sure what that is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any other questions of Mr. Slayton? Yes, Mr. Keener?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the book, it says West Siloam Langley Purchase.
Says what?
West Siloam.
Salon what?
West Siloam Langley Purchase.
Oh, no, that's who owned the property.
That's what I,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was thinking Langley, Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Karen. I apologize
That's the way I
for
read
that.
it, I guess, so.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions?
Sorry about that.
I would just like to ask you to pass along to your staff how much I appreciate their responsiveness when I contact them about pretty much anything. They're usually Johnny on the spot, can get me to who I need to speak with, and I really appreciate that. It's always handled in a timely manner, and I wish you would pass that along to them.
Thank you. I'll pass that along to the team.
Okay, thank you. There's no other questions? You're off the hook.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Diane Kelly.
I don't like that. That means you don't got no dinner.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Welcome.
I just want to say while Sean's still in here before he runs
Better
out the
speak
door.
fast, he's gone.
God, he's already gone. I just want to say that I appreciate all of his help and support that he's given our department. He and Chuck Garrett have been working very closely with our department, and he asked that we start meeting on a regular basis with his HR department, which is Bob Thomas and Vivian. We've been meeting every month. We've been making referrals. We've been doing specialized training. We've been doing job fairs, and met with Bob and Vivian a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to be working to do a couple of job fairs for the South Coffeyville project. We've got a team that we think that does a really good job internally within career services. Then Vivian brings her group in, and then she brings in some of the managers so that we can actually do some hiring right there on the spot. And we're hoping that to do two in two different areas, because we know that there's people, as Councilman Lay pointed out, that actually live on the other side of Ochaleta that actually could probably drive to South Coffeyville closer than maybe coming over to the other facility. So we're going to be working with them on that. Also had a meeting this last week where we're going to be working on some of the job fairs and maybe some of the specialized training for the upcoming facility that's going to be built at Roland. So that wouldn't have happened without the support of the chief's office as well as Sean Slayton's office in making that happen and us partnering and working together. And as a result of it, we are getting people jobs. We're getting tribal members jobs.
Thank you.
And, you know, that's one of our initiatives, and that's one of the things that we're working very hard on. And that's one of the things that we drive home with the staff every day is you get one person a job, that's one person that didn't have a job yesterday. So we're working real hard on that. And I do hope that you all stopped by the booth last night. We provided food for you, but we also had some things out there. One was a business card on our Cherokee Career Services, Career Connections. The other one was a deal that you peel off and put it on the back of your phone that you can put your business cards in, or if you want to go somewhere, you can take your business cards out and hand them to somebody. These were things that we put out there for you last night. We did have a few T-shirts, but they haven't come in yet. And those T-shirts are going to be used for some of our day training people so that whenever they go and work at our facilities at C&B, then they'll have those shirts. Vivian will be using those for publicity, but it'll also be to let people know about our website. And we're getting several calls on this website, so we're very excited about it. It's doing a lot more for us than what you thought, and it's also bringing in a lot of information about people that are interested in working for us that are gainfully employed somewhere. So they're hearing about Cherokee Nation. We're going to be doing some construction fairs. Kim Carroll, if you ever see Kim, she's been in the trenches working on grants. She's put 3 grants out, the Department of Labor grants. We've got one that'll go in this Thursday, and it is about a $10 million grant if we're successful. It's money that we can spread out into the 14 counties, and we're really keeping our fingers crossed. We do have some connections in the Dallas Regional Office on one of the grants that went in, and they're watching it to see if it makes the mark because they know what we're capable of doing up here. So we're just hoping and praying that we get 1 or 2 of those grants funded. Met with the Macy's people by phone last week, and they're anxious for us to get up into that area so that we can start working with them. Met with the mayor's office and met with the Tulsa Regional Chamber last week. So I've got staff. We're going to be working up in that area. I'm hoping maybe within the next month. We don't know, but we're working on it. And Sean and them are helping us to try to get where we need to be, and we appreciate all of that. We just have a lot going on. Do any of y'all have any questions about any of the programs? Be glad to answer.
Counselor Gloria Jordan?
Yes. On behalf of the council, I just wanted to thank you for the food last night. That was very kind of you.
Thank you. Thank you. We didn't mind doing it at all.
Well, that was very nice, and please tell your staff we appreciate it.
Deborah Lack coordinated that.
Okay. She did a great job. And that was, I don't know if everybody got by to visit with the leadership class, but that was nice that you set aside that time at 5 o'clock for everybody to come by. I went by and shook everybody's hand, and you've got a good group.
Thank you.
Young people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor Lay?
Thank you, ma'am.
You guys have an office in that Tulsa or Tulsa area yet? Have you moved up there yet?
No, we have not. And I'm hesitant in saying anything because it still has to go before the CNB board, the 24th or 25th, because Sean and them are working with us. That was one of the things they told us, was if we landed that, we're hopefully working with them to get up in that area. Right now, I can tell you, we're looking at a building right across the street from the interchange building, so it'll be in that area. We did a map. We had the geodata to do a map of that area within a 30-mile radius and within a 60-mile radius. I think you and I had talked about this. There's a lot of tribal members up there. And we know that once that office opens and word gets out, we're going to be bombarded. And I don't know that I'm going to have the manpower to man it.
60-mile radius, I think there's only 150,000.
Yeah, only 150,000. So, we're excited.
Counselor Cowan Watts.
Thank you. Yeah, I noticed the map. It didn't match our apportionment and redistricting issues, but showed what we knew. So thank you for last night and the wonderful, I think George and those young people have done an excellent job. And of course your team on announcing the career connections. And I've already got a huge response posting and sharing it. So I hope people are being responsive and utilizing it because you guys really do make a difference in people's lives. And I've gotten tremendous, wonderful feedback from my constituents.
Thank you
for that.
Thank you.
When will Macy's be hiring?
The discussion that we had last week is that they're wanting us to work with them on a vendor fair, which is some of the customers that they're going to be working with in their fulfillment center. It's a fulfillment center, not a distribution center, but it's a fulfillment center. And the reason it's called a fulfillment center is because this distribution center is going to be geared more for their internet program. And it'll also have some of their stores, but it's more geared for the internet piece of it. We're hoping that the New York office will make contact with us. The chamber has a point person, and they have already been in contact, but the players may change because this lady is just enacting. So they don't really have anyone identified yet, and they said it was too far down the road. They're looking at the fall for the recruitment on the jobs. And that was what our meeting was last week, was to kind of get an idea. And hopefully they'll be sending us a grid so that we'll know how it's going to be mapped out.
So what date should I tell people that they might actually start a job? Where's that time frame?
The jobs won't happen until next year because they're not expected to open their doors until May of next year.
And then thank you on your job fair report for the real detailed analysis about where people were coming from and their tribes and everything. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Dixie Withers is the person
Mr.
responsible
Chair.
for that.
Or Madam Chair.
Does anybody else have any? Okay.
I would like to take Diane's time to introduce one of the, I believe Ashley Fox is here. She is the admin intern out of the leadership class this summer. Ashley, we appreciate you being on board. Ashley, I believe you're from Bartlesville? Dick? There you go, lady.
Make sure she's registered.
And I spoke with you about this privately, but I just want to say publicly how impressed I was with the quality of the interns. Those kids have got it going on, and we should be so lucky that they would all come back and work for us.
Thank you. George Roach does a very good job. He goes out to the schools and does presentations beginning in February, and he actually goes out and works on this. And I will tell you that our summer intern program has been very successful. In fact, you've got some quality people that are working here at the tribe right now that came through that program. David Walkingstick, Todd Hembry, Lisa Trice Turtle, a lot of former Miss Cherokees. I mean, they all came through our summer intern program. So I just have to pat George on the back. He does an outstanding job of recruiting good quality students. And then they have an interview process that goes through 3 former interns who actually make the selections.
Okay. Any more questions for Ms. Kelly? Good. Oh,
I just want to make a comment. Diane, thank you. These are some good reports, especially on the job fair.
Thank you.
But I want to, I'm from a district, or I'm from a county that doesn't have the facilities and stuff that Tulsa, Wausau, and more, and some of the metropolitan areas have. And I just want to make sure that we keep in mind those rural communities, such as our Kenwood community, our Oaks community, those communities like that. Now, we were fortunate in Jay to get the laundromat there, and it employs about 21 or 22 people now. But if there's a way that we could get a feed off from those companies like the Macy's, the Walmart, or we could do packages and stuff like that, I'd certainly like to see those come back to the heart of the Cherokee Nation. Granted, we need to be in the Tulsa area, that's fine, you know, we need to be there. But I think we're forgetting about people that live in the Kenwood area. They have to drive so far to get it, or even the J area or Hoochie area. Those where I live, those are people that can't afford to travel to Hoochie to Catoosa. So if there's any way that we could get a bleed off, even 10 or 15 jobs means a lot to those communities. So if you ever have an opportunity to do that stuff, you know, certainly keep that in mind. And I'm not speaking just of Delaware County, I'm speaking of any Cherokee community out there that has those types of people. And a lot of our full-bloods are there and they won't go, but if it comes to their area, they would certainly work in those areas. So if there's ever any opportunity for those things to happen, make sure we keep those in mind.
Thank you,
And that's
Councilman.
any place within the Cherokee Nation.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to remember that this one was one that they made the contact with us, and we really we weren't really sure what it was when we actually got the contact made, because it was called Project Socrates, and nobody really knew what the company was, and we weren't really sure whether or not it was something that was going to be landed, but we knew it was a big project when we knew the governor was involved. And for many weeks, we had no earthly idea whether it was something that we even really wanted to be involved with, until the guy that was doing the real estate finally broke loose and told us. He said it's a good company, and he started telling us about the jobs, the number of jobs. Then we knew it was something big and good, but we just didn't know what.
And I understand that, and I understand now that we know who it is. If there's ever an opportunity for us to package something, anything of that nature that could be trucked in, you know, those jobs would be really appreciated for those people. And I know you look out for those communities. Just want to make sure that we keep those people in mind.
Thank you.
Understand all
We
that,
will,
so,
we will.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Diane.
Thank you.
Up next is Anna Knight with Commerce.
Hopefully you have a copy of my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I do apologize for my tardiness yesterday, but I am here to answer any questions that you might have about the Commerce report.
Yes, Counselor Buzzard?
I think it's a good report that we see from you every month, Anna, but I do have a question and to see if we're doing such things. And I want to talk about commercial loans, where we lend a young family or a group of people a commercial loan. Do we do background checks? Say it's a loan of $300,000. Do we do background checks on those people to see if they can actually operate those types of businesses? Or just by what they mortgage, that we make sure it's covered? Or what I'm saying is, there's training involved. Do you look at the training and see if they know how to run a business they're trying to run?
We do require that they complete a business plan, which has the projections in it, and if applicable, it has historical financials. And part of that business plan is their experience. That's where we look at whether or not they actually have the skills to be able to run that type of business. And then we do look at the collateral, and we look at their credit, we look at the cash flow, and we look at the collateral and their ability, are the primary areas that we look at.
So it is included, and that's what my concern was, is we get some young business people that's maybe just getting into the business. And it seems that they don't have the background as to how to handle the financing part of the business. make sure that we were looking at that aspect of those applications to make sure that they do know how to do it financially once they get into the business.
And we do provide coaching. Most of the startup businesses that we loan to are much smaller amounts than that. Those are usually larger loans that are for expansion and creation of new jobs.
All right, so it sounds like we're doing the background. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Counselor Coates?
Anna, we get these questions periodically about 184 loans in Texas, right? And I know I copied you on something just this past week, I think, and I just, I know it's frustrating to you, it's frustrating to all of us, because it's been about 6 years since we passed the resolution. Cherokee Nation requested that this be extended. What is the expectation here? What do we do?
We still just have to wait for HUD to try to approve that expansion outside of the current area that it's in. And we just can't seem to get any kind of traction with them making that decision.
After 6 years.
Which is a decision, I think, in and of itself, but they, and they have, there's more Cherokee loans than there are any other type of tribal loans, and I can follow up with it, and I know I've talked with our government relations folks about trying to work it from that end, and I probably do need to follow up with Courtney to see exactly where they may be at on it, or if they've gotten any kind of traction, but it's going to take more than us just making a request of HUD.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that, it is a decision. And so that's kind of just my question, I guess, and you pretty much responded, or do we have other ways to approach this, or are there sort of other kinds of appeals we could enact?
And I will follow up with Courtney, and then I'll follow up with that.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one comment.
Okay, I do have a question for you, Anna. You know I'm a big supporter of the Financial Peace University that you're running. Do people tend to finish that for the most part? It's what, a 9-week course?
Yes, it is.
Do you
And
get 100% participation?
not 100% participation, but most of the people finish it, and they do. It is a fee-based, because they have to purchase the curriculum, and there's a strong correlation to completion versus the money that they have to put out.
Okay.
So we've got a pretty good participation rate or completion rate, and I can check on exactly what it is and get back with you, but it's fairly good.
Good. Okay. Counselor Byrd?
Hannah, thank you for your detailed report. That's a good job. I mean, it's very easy to read and.
Good. Thank you.
Counselor?
Hannah, give me an example walk me through, if it's 25,000 or less, it's a micro loan, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, walk me through an example of, okay, your most recent one, your livestock startup. We have them do a business plan,
Yes.
and of course, their business plan is probably, I'm gonna buy so many cows, and here's when the calves are gonna sell, and this is how I'm gonna pay you back.
Right, and this is the market price, and then we do some verification of that ourselves. And they complete their business plan, and then we pull a credit application on them, and we verify their credit, and then our department writes it up, and we submit it to the Cherokee Nation Economic Development Trust Authority Board's Loan Committee.
Which is made up of 5 bankers.
Yes.
Okay.
And they are the ones that then analyze it, ask any questions that they may have. We obtain additional information if necessary, if we've missed something in the workup, and then they make the decision to approve or disapprove the loan.
And do we make the check to them?
We typically make the checks pay direct, so if they're purchasing something with our money, then we make the check payable to them and the vendor that they're purchasing from.
How does the UCC look? Is it specific on cattle, or is it just say all cattle now owned, or?
It's generally a specific UCC on all cattle.
So it describes a specific cow, maybe with a brand number or ID in the ear, or some of them are chipping them now.
I would have to double check with our portfolio manager, but I believe it is still just a general description of all the livestock
All
that they
cattle
own.
now owned and all acquired in the future, and any offspring thereof. Okay. So, do you notify the local livestock barns and put them on the list?
Yes, we do.
So if they go to sell anywhere within probably the state of Oklahoma,
Then we get the proceeds, yes.
are we notifying the bordering livestock barns, like if they're, let's say they're Adair County or Delaware County or Ottawa County? Are we notifying the adjacent livestock barns at Fayetteville and Fort Smith and Missouri?
I would have to double check. We should be, but I'd have to double check before I could give you an answer on that.
Are we requiring them to have any experience in the livestock area?
We do require them, especially depending on the size of the loan. If it's a very small loan, we may be giving them an opportunity. But we do require them to have collateral, and depending on the size of the loan, it'll be above and beyond what the livestock is. And then we do require that they have experience, or that they're partnered with. Some of the youth loans we make, they may not have direct experience, but their parents co-sign, or they're working with a partner that has that experience.
RDS does a small youth loan, and they have the parents co-sign with them. I just noticed that we got several going through with zero equity by the owner. And I know we're trying to help them start up.
Right.
But it's a concern to me that they don't have any cows. And right now the market's real high. But someday it's gonna come down.
Right.
And, the old rule used to be, and I guess the rule still is, if you can take 2 calves and pay for your cow, then you're still in good shape. Doesn't matter what the cow originally cost. But somebody's gonna get left holding the bag on these cows. You buy a $2,500 cow, and when the market goes down and that cow's worth $500, and you got no money for hay or feed, I'm just wondering what a lot of these folks are gonna do.
Right. I will go back and do a little bit of an analysis on these livestock loans. I know that Tom Merrill with Armstrong Bank is one of the members of our loan committee, and he's an experienced agriculture lender. And so let me go back and look at those and make a report back to you. And if we need to make some tweaks, we certainly can. It's not an area.
And they may be good loans, and I don't want names or anything.
Right.
I'm just wondering, do they have their own land? Are they
Right.
leasing their land? Are they cutting their own hay, or are they buying their hay? What provisions are they making for winter? I mean,
That's part of what I'm wondering.
It's not if the market's gonna drop, it's when.
When.
I don't know that we can sustain $18 steaks. I may be wrong, I hope the market stays up forever. It's the first time cattlemen's ever made money, at least as far back as I can remember. Now cattlemen's actually making money. But I'm just wondering how long the public's gonna tolerate $18 a pound steak.
Right. I will go back and look at that. It may be how we're writing them up, and we may not be writing up all the equity that they have in the total business, and maybe writing it up as a project. So let me go back and look at those, and then I'll give
And
you a
I can
report on that.
understand it if it's project, because that's the way of the future, is getting young people in the game, because a lot of the old farmers are getting out, and a lot of it's going to this corporate farming deal.
Right.
I just, it and beauty shops and anything that can roll down the road always concern me on a loan. I used to do a lot of work for different financial institutions on collection work. And if it rolled down the road, if it had a hoof, or if you dried hair in it, you took the real chance of losing your money.
And you can add restaurants to that list too,
Yeah,
so.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, but I'm just wondering, I can see it if it's youth oriented, because then there's another thing coming into play there.
Right. I'll go back and do an evaluation on all of them and give you a report, kind of a summary of where we're at.
And I know you've got a good board, they're very experienced. Let's just take one more look at it.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Anna? Thank you. Good
Thank
report.
you.
Move on down to consent items. The tarot oh, I'm sorry.
Historical.
We have another report.
Oh, I'm sorry. Of course you'd call me on that, Jack. The Historical Society, I thought I saw Contessa come in.
It's Dr. Candace.
That's right.
She just recently got her PhD.
We're lucky to have her, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Congratulations.
Well done. OCO, Dr. Condessa Teehee, as Joe mentioned, Executive Director of the Cherokee Heritage Center. I think you have a written report on file for us, and aside from that, the latest news to report is the demolition of the ancient village that was replaced by Deligua, which opened over a year ago now, has been in operation. So we also have the Cherokee Homecoming Art Show that will be coming up in August. The opening reception will be on August 22nd. And aside from that, we're available for questions. Susan Plum, the president of the Cherokee National Historical Society Board of Trustees, is also in attendance today. So I open myself to any questions you might have.
Okay. Counselor Burke.
Counselor Walkenstick and myself took a little tour a week or so ago at the Heritage Center. And one thing that we're going to contribute is, and it's in our community funds here today, is we talked to you briefly about that. Took Bruce Davis out and talked to Ms. Parrish. We want to make that ancient village look authentic as we can. And I know at that time fundings were not available, we just did the chain link fence. But what would be needed, and we're going to do that, we're going to take care of this for you. We're going to put those poles back, those ancient, probably 8-inch in diameter, and Bruce Davis is already looking at that. So when you drive up, you don't see the inside of the tour taking place. So you'll see those posts probably 10 feet tall, where you won't be able to see inside. And that's just one small project that we've been looking at. We've done a feasibility study on that place, and there's some options out there. We do need to get that drama up and running again. And we've got some people that are interested in, we've spent the past 10 or 12 years in building towers and making money. But what about our heritage?
Right.
What happened to the language and the heritage and the cultural aspect of the tribe? Somewhere we just lost our priorities. So now it's getting back to who we really are. And it's not hard rock, folks. You go tell that to those rural people in Kenwood and Oaks and Marble City and Nycut and Bellefonte. And they've never even been to hard rock. Now, it's not a bad deal. We're getting our revenue from there, don't get me wrong. But that's not our identity. So it's time we started putting some time and effort back into our heritage and our way of life. And I'm on board with that. And I know the people I've talked to here, they're on board. We just got to have a plan in place. And I know it takes money to do that.
Yeah.
But a little bit at a time, and I commend you and your staff. I think you're going to do a good job. People are excited about your presence there. So we're here to support you in whatever way we can. We just have to have a plan in place.
Okay.
And I did see one plan out there. I didn't know you had a master plan that was developed some time ago. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you about the Cherokee Heritage Center. Many people, during its first 10 years of operation, it was the tourist attraction in all of Oklahoma. It was the top tourist attraction. And since that time, it has remained the face of tourism, of Cherokee tourism, and really of tourism in eastern Oklahoma. It's very unique. There's not another place like it. And we have seen ourselves surpassed by our peers, especially down, at Chickasaw Nation with the cultural center that they built there. It's a top-of-the-line facility. It's state-of-the-art, brand new, and we have some amazing materials in our archives and collections, not only including not only including the land patent that was issued with Cherokee Nation, and also Stan Wade's Bowie knife. We have a number of items in the collection. One of the existing photographs of Ned Christie, which was actually named one of the most endangered artifacts in Oklahoma this year. And we are named as a cultural steward for not only the Cherokee Nation, but also for Oklahoma. And we are the Cherokee National Museum. So it's exciting to hear the level of support from the individuals in this room, and we are excited to look toward the future and to make productive steps toward reestablishing and reinvigorating the Cherokee Heritage Center.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Counselor Lay?
And I'm hearing Joe and Stick and Ms. T.E. talk about these issues, and I wonder sometimes if all of us, or as many of us can get together at one time, can go over there and just sit down and do a little roundhouse discussion. And I didn't know there was a master plan either.
Yeah, I didn't.
And so if there is, or it needs to be updated by you folks, I think we'd all like to hear that, and like to hear how we could improve the property.
Yeah, well, we can absolutely provide a copy of the master plan to everyone here, and we'd be happy to do so.
One thing I kind of worry about, I hear these horror stories usually about grandma's artifacts or things of the family from way back because it's set up in the attic and it got ruined. And so, I also know that you all keep a lot of things over the Heritage Center. And I don't know if you have proper climate controlling, you probably do, but I wonder about those things.
Well, we have had studies that have been done within recent years about the state of our facilities. And right now, the building that we're in was built a number of years ago. I believe 1967 is the year that the facility itself was opened. But of course, the Historical Society has been in operation since 1963. But I don't think anyone expected for us to be in that facility for as many years as we have currently been in the facility. And because of that simple fact, we have our archives and collections area has outdistanced the space that we're in. So right now, that is a major challenge to us, and it really does require capital improvements for us to be able to maintain our holdings in the manner in which they need to be maintained for generations to come. So that you have touched on something that is a challenge for us. And, as I mentioned, with us being the Cherokee National Museum, it's very important that we can reassure individuals who make donations to our facility that we are going to be good stewards of those pieces for generations to come.
Do you have a priority level of what needs to be done?
Right now, our priority level really is archives. We have done a really wonderful job with Dilligwa, getting Dilligwa open. The previous ancient village was a bit inaccurate according to historical investigation, and with recent archaeological inquiry, we were able to construct a village that more closely approximated what the village would have looked like in 1710. So we're really, really proud of what's happened out in Dilligwa. Our next challenge is the facility itself and making sure that archives and collections are maintained for generations to come.
Counselor Walking Stick?
Yes, I was watching a show the other night called Undercover Boss. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And the other day, me and Bill Bird was out at the Heritage Center, and we was looking for you. And we looked in the village, and you were in a costume giving tours to the people over there. And I have a lot of respect for you when we seen that, because as being executive director and going into the trenches and seeing what all goes on firsthand to see what the needs are to make that program better, I have tons of respect, and I'm glad that you're you're meeting all needs.
Well, I appreciate that. I have a firm belief that, in Oklahoma, our weather, we have extremes, where they say if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change, right? But in our summers, it gets really hot, and we ask our villagers to wear, buckskin skirts, trade shirts, and I feel like if that's something that I'm going to ask our employees to do, then it should darn well be something that I'm going to be willing to do myself. So, appreciate that.
We appreciate you. Thank you, Sheriff.
One more comment. I think what I heard Counselor Lay say, and if you picked up on the tip, you and Ms. Plum, probably wouldn't hurt to invite us over there and have a little just get together sometime near the future.
We would love to have you out. So, I have a couple of remarks I could make from a board perspective if you have just a minute. Congratulations to Dr. Teehee, who just received her PhD from the university. She didn't require a lot of hand-holding, but she definitely had her work cut out for her, had a tough committee, and she's persistent. So we're fortunate to have her, very fortunate. It's the right place and the right time for her to be exactly where she is, and we, as a board, appreciate that. So she and I are working currently, and of course with the board's support, on a long-term plan that hopefully could present some security to the Heritage Center, financial security that we've not really ever experienced. So that's something that she and I will be presenting and writing just a little bit of an outline of some of it. Our board structure is outdated. The current way that not-for-profits operate is a lot different than it was in the 60s. And so a couple of the ideas that we're tossing around are to shrink I'm calling it the operating board. And that's the everyday, the nuts and bolts, like what are the sidewalks going to look like, and how many people do we need, and how does the, everyday problems. That board could probably be considerably smaller than the board that we have now. And then on the flip side of that, we would intend to maybe grow our, I'm calling it the Friends of Board, which would be people who have the inclination to either support us monetarily or have influence to be able to support us. And then the third part of that, and this is being done a lot actually in not-for-profit circles, is to have an endowment board, and hopefully those folks would be approved by both the council, the administration, and the Heritage Center board, so that we would be in a position to accept larger gifts, gifts that could sustain us for a long time. So we'll be presenting some of those ideas to you in writing very soon, and we're just really fortunate to have Candace. So thank you for your support at the gospel sing. It was great. Anybody else? Thank you, Candace. Oh, yes?
I'm glad to see that you're now the president.
Pardon?
I'm glad to see that you're now the president.
I'm hard of hearing.
And I think the board, like you said, I think we have outgrown that. It's just like we outgrew the amphitheater. At one time, our weather was a little bit more constant. And I just got back from Branson, and Shepherd of the Hills may be one of the last outside drama that survived. People want to be comfortable. We're just spoiled. There's a different generation here, like walking stick. We're talking about heat and air and comfortable theater seats. So, and I'm glad you're looking at some changes there, and decreasing the board, and more active in the different levels of boards that you're talking about. And so, I think this is an exciting time, and we need to take care of our heritage and who we are. Thank you, Madam Chair.
nothing else? Appreciate you being here with us today.
Well,
Okay, Jack, may I move to consent items now?
Yes,
Okay. Don Overacker?
The list isn't down.
Okay. Are there any questions on the tarot certifications in your book?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
This weekend.
Good. Okay. We have our accountant up here. We have a revised cemetery preservation list.
Yes, the latest one has at the bottom Gray Cemetery.
Okay, is everybody,
Make a motion to be approved.
okay, we have a motion and a second on the cemetery preservation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, we'll move on to community assistance.
The latest one has War Pony, the 500 that split 3 ways with Cherokee County.
100 from me, 2 from me, 2 from Marcus.
You want to change the amounts?
Counselor Hargis.
500 from you and what?
Jody, I would like to add Rocky Mountain School, the state track team, for $250.
Which one was that, Councilman?
Buy-in high school.
It's on, it's a top list on the back page.
We were gonna do 500 for, Jody, that top one on the last page.
Buy-in school.
Buy-in school?
The 3 of us are doing 500 split 3 days.
Thank you.
Is there any other?
Yeah.
First, did you get yours?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, let's move on to,
David, with their 500, will that reduce yours to 2250? Or you still want to give that much?
So that it
Well,
comes out.
I want it to be 4,000, so I've
Okay, so
got
that'll
2 more
reduce yours to
communities,
2250.
townships I need to help. Huh?
Yeah,
With
reduce
their
it.
500, it'll reduce yours. I'm asking you
Yes.
if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Once I put them on there,
And that's on the record, Gail.
okay, let's move on to law enforcement.
We have one on there for Salina Police Department for $345.
Anybody else need to change that up?
We good, Tom? Okay.
Do I hear a motion to approve the law enforcement?
Motion to approve.
Harry, second, yeah.
Okay, I have a motion. Was that Counselor Lay or Walking
Lay.
Stick? Motion was Counselor Walker Stick and the second was Counselor Hargis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, the roads,
Just give high support.
We just have the one project this month under motor vehicle tax. 310 Road for Counselor Vasquez, $61,717.
Jody, they haven't sent any of ours over yet? Our roads?
No, I haven't.
Maybe they'll be here next month.
Okay. I'll check with Michael and,
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
what, you know what the name of the road was, so I can kinda,
One is Menard Road and one was,
now you had some last month.
yeah, but I didn't see it taken off our money. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Let me go back here.
Pettit Bay,
The other one was, it was over,
Pettit Bay, Bridge or Pettit Bay Road or something.
did we miss,
Yes, last month, South Menard.
On, page 29,
29?
down on the far
Maybe I
corner,
just didn't go far enough.
South Maynard Road.
South Menard?
Yeah, South Menard and then West 751 and then you have one more, don't you?
Yeah, it's Pettit Bay. What's that gal's name that sent the email that, Debbie, no, Debbie,
Bethman? Is it?
No Dine?
No Dine?
I haven't,
Debbie No Dine.
Yeah, but another one sent it out, that last time. I think we have a third road.
Hold on a second, mate.
Can we hold for just a second and see if that third road's supposed to be on here? Before we approve this? Huh?
No Dine, no Dean.
I thought you had it.
Well, David, let's just catch it next month. I mean, wasn't that the Martin?
Yeah, Martin's the one pushing
He
it.
really needs his money.
Yeah, he needs it.
Yeah. See if we can get them to. No, I think it was that. If you give us just a second.
She says they gotta have it today.
Here it is, right here.
If we know the amount and where it's at, we can just go ahead and put it on there. Because we approved it.
This is concrete box bridge. So I just need an amount.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be more than 60 because that's all his amount is for. Yeah.
Here it is, right here.
He's not 40 yet.
You know, took care of ours, didn't we?
When? I know he is.
I told him we would let him do that before.
Here. Jody, you got ours last
It
month.
says 58,180.
That's about right.
58,000.
What's the name of the project?
Was it Pettit Bay Box Bridge?
Just call it Pettit Bay.
Yeah.
Pettit Bay for
58. 180.
Actually, he gets 19,393 three times.
It's West Pettit Bay Road. West Pettit Bay Road.
West Pettit Bay Row, and he gets 19,393. Well, you get 94 from somebody. It's split three
No,
ways.
sorry. It's 8,000. It's 80. Is it 81,205?
Well, we're not giving him that much.
That's what he's requesting for.
No, they always request more.
Yeah, it's West Pettit Bay Road. It's 1.1 miles. It's in District 3, mine.
Well,
And
he
it's,
get West Pettit Bay Road, and he gets 19,393 from me and Joe, and 19,394 from David. Right? Joe, split 3 ways. And now he's out of money.
He's out of money.
Is that money? All right.
They've all 3 been taken care of, their outs for this year.
I'll sing Thursday night.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay?
Okay, so with
Okay.
those changes, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Ferguson, a second by Counselor Lay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Let's go on to sports team funding.
The last one on the list is Oklahoma Severs. I don't know if that's supposed to be servers or it is Severs, but,
I was wondering about that. It was turned in by me, but that's what it said.
okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second? All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay, and then the livestock?
There is, the one that was, added this month for the 2,200 Washington County Junior Livestock Show. And I know she's got 1 or 2 others she's gathering information on, but doesn't have all the paperwork yet. So they'll be on next month.
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposition?
And just for informational purposes, we did add, she added the 15,000 that was approved as part of the budget last night. So now we're out of we're back in the black.
Okay, there's no old business. So let's move on to the new business. We have 2 budget modifications. Counselor Jordan, would you do the first one for me, please?
Yes, ma'am. The first one is an act amending Legislative Act 2213, authorizing the comprehensive capital budget for fiscal year 2014, also known as mod number 7. And I put that in form of a motion.
Second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion about this capital model? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, the second one is mod 10.
Yes, this is an act, amending the Legislative Act 21-13, authorizing a comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2014, Mod 10, and declaring an emergency. Put that in form of a motion.
Is there any discussion? Yes, Counselor Watts?
I just had a question. Would somebody remind me about the climate change money and what we intend to, gain or achieve with it?
Yeah, it
I
is.
seem to remember it, but I couldn't remember.
It's item number 1. It's a new budget requesting expenditure authorization of $32,500, and it is grant funds that we're receiving through our DOI self-governance compact, and it's for training funds for a core group of CN officials to obtain training reference material in order to draft a Cherokee Nation climate change management plan. And as far as further details than that, I refer to the department, but it's,
This is Pat Gwynn.
Okay.
Here, so I can have them
Yeah, if maybe on resources, could we get an update on that, and what they're doing on resources as an agenda item or part of their report?
Is that Curtis?
Can
we get a report? Thank you, Frankie. Thank you,
Sure,
Curtis.
Shelley knows.
Okay, are you done, Counselor Watts?
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
Madam
Counselor
Chair.
Keener?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to give Jody a chance to make any comments he might want to make.
okay. I will kind of give you an update here on in Section A, on the unappropriated cash match. I'm just going to let you know that was also updated this month. for a $30,000 matching for the federal transit program. So that balance is now $490,000 for the appropriated for cash match. And I can go into these other items in detail like I usually do, or time-wise, if you guys have any questions, I can go into them.
Is everybody good with that, or would you like a detailed? Excuse me, Counselor Garvin? Okay.
Motion to approve?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay.
Keener.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. By way of announcements, the next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, July 31st at 3 p.m. Does anybody else have any announcements?
Speaker has a community meeting Thursday night.
All City,
All city, be there, Stick.
yeah, 6 o'clock, baby.
Be square. That's it.
Okay.
Any motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Done.
Good job, Madam Chair.
All of you that's on the Health Work Group Committee, Connie,